The Premier League season is not even over yet, and Liverpool are so active in the transfer window that hasn't even opened yet either, that they could be set to sign another player before the transfer window even opens. Florian Wirtz to Liverpool, David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano given that conversation, and it sounds like his priority and his favoured destination is playing at Anfield next season. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm gutted. Not because I felt like my club, Manchester United, ever stood a chance with signing him. It's the fact that a player that I've enjoyed watching over the last couple of seasons is now joining a huge rival fan that are having a successful period of football. But look at what Liverpool are building. You know, this is what you call serious contenders across competitions, because the ink has not even dried on the engravement of the Premier League title. I mean, there is no ink, but still, you guys get my point. The season hasn't even ended yet. And they are already actively addressing points of concern. Some points where maybe people didn't feel like it was a complete concern. But I also anticipate that with these incomings, there will definitely be outgoings for Liverpool, 100%. I think Luis Diaz will leave. Darwin Núñez will leave. Of course, the biggest conversation is Trent, but they ain't getting much compensation for that. Now, starting with how early they're moving in the transfer window. I mean, Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth is linked to a potential move to join Liverpool. Frimpong has reportedly done his medical for a €40 million move. That's basically like 30-something million pounds. That's great business. Despite the fact that I feel like Frimpong and Trent Alexander-Arnold or Conor Bradley are completely different defenders or defend different type of fullbacks. I feel like Frimpong is definitely up there in terms of the attacking players. Of course, maybe if Liverpool could have gone out and got a player like Hakimi, who's more naturally of a right wing back rather than more naturally a right back, instead of a right wing back, that would have been better suited. But equally, with saying that, there's nothing to say that Arne Slot potentially isn't looking to shake up the way that Liverpool attack next season. Mohamed Salah signing that 2-year extension, which could see him play in a different type of system or a different type of front line, a very interchangeable one. But I think the biggest conversation is about Florian Wirtz joining Liverpool, because he's one of the, technically, on a technical level, he's a great player, creative player, a playmaker, so good on the ball. When you think about the thought of Florian Wirtz, McAllister and Gravenberch as a midfield three, fitting Szoboszlai somewhere there, that is a great midfield trio. That is a phenomenal one. And people are going to talk about money, right? Because Manchester City last week withdrew from the race to sign Florian Wirtz because it seemed like they were briefing the media that it was probably going to be a package of around £350 million. That's including his salary over a period of time, the transfer fee, agent fees, etc. A 300 million package. I mean, I'm sure they've spent near enough to maybe just less than that on Erling Haaland. However, Liverpool are potentially doing what they failed to do with previous players like Bellingham, like Caicedo, if I cast your minds back to that summer. If they are over to get this over the line, Florian Wirtz has reportedly, according to David Ornstein, has been house shopping in the northwest of England, not because of any links to City, because his favoured destination has been Liverpool. He has made it known that that is his favoured destination. That is where he wants to go. Bayern Munich has been in the race for him to snatch him from their German rivals for a 150 approximately transfer fee, 150 million. But Liverpool is looking like the likely destination. And Liverpool is so funny, right? Because I laughed at Liverpool last summer not signing anyone. Lo and behold, they went on to bring in Arne Slot and win the title with him in their first season. And clearly all that money that they didn't spend, plus all the money that they have made from winning the Premier League and, you know, getting quite far in the Champions League. Maybe they didn't get as far as they wanted to. But taking all of that into consideration, they are clearly spending. And they are spending and addressing points that will probably make them more competitive in Europe and try and get a chokehold over the Premier League with. Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, two players that play together, two players that are familiar with each other, two players that will have to adapt to football here in England, but I don't think either of them will struggle. And then signing a Premier League experienced Milos Kerkez at left back, who is an absolute upgrade on Robertson. It's, you know, his time has been coming to an end, I think, at Liverpool for a long time. I still feel like you know, despite that, that strengthens Liverpool. That strengthens Liverpool in ways that I think a lot of people didn't imagine that they would do so early. The fact that, like I said, the transfer window hasn't even opened yet. And I know it opens for a small period before the Club World Cup. But even with saying that, at the time of recording this video and the time of the news coming out about Florian Wirtz, about Frimpong, the Premier League season hasn't even ended. A lot of Premier League teams haven't even started making moves for their first signing. And it looks like Liverpool could be on their way to finalising a deal for their second signing before the Premier League season has even ended. Florian Wirtz picking Liverpool over Bayern Munich as well is huge. It's huge. Don't let people downplay that idea, because Bayern Munich are a big team. They are, you know, a dynasty in Germany. They, you know, continuously get far in the Champions League. They've won the Champions League not so long ago. You know, they've won the league title this year. Last year they got close by Leverkusen, obviously won, Florian Wirtz and Frimpong being part of that. But Wirtz is clearly stepping out of his comfort zone. He could have taken the easy route out and been like, you know what, I'm going to go to Bayern Munich. His father clearly reportedly favours a move to Bayern Munich. Reportedly, he had a gentleman's agreement with Bayern Munich to get his son to sign there. But his preference has always been to go and play at Liverpool. He could have, you know, been like, you know what, guys, I'm going to stay in my comfort zone. I'm comfortable in Germany. I'm comfortable here. I'm just going to, you know, head off to Munich and play there for Bayern Munich. But he's taken a big leap, I think, as a young player. And I remember in an interview, Ballack spoke about how he wished he played in the Premier League in his peak because of how demanding the Premier League was, and that he could have, you know, had more of a successful career. He had a successful career with Chelsea, but he could have had a more successful career when he played in his peak. And maybe that's how, maybe Florian Wirtz is looking at it like that. He's looking at, you know what, I'm approaching the best time of my development, you know, he's still a bit away from his peak, and he's such a good player, you know, he can create goals, he can get goals. The ball is like a magnet to his feet. It sticks to his feet. He dribbles well. He doesn't, when I watch Wirtz at Bayer Leverkusen, he links up very well with the wing backs. And I think that's why it's essential that Liverpool, you know, if they want to get the best out of him, I don't, as a Man United fan, I hope they don't. But if they want to get the best out of him, they have to have wing backs that he can actively link up with. And, you know, in a slot system that doesn't play with wing backs and it's more like full backs, we've seen with Trent this season, you know, he would come in central and Gravenberch would drop in and create that back three with Van Dijk and Konate, or he wouldn't drop in and Trent would partner him in the midfield as that ball progressor. I feel like if they're able to get Kerkez over the line, who, by the way, is a phenomenal left back, one of the best left backs in England this season, without a doubt. For me, Ain't Nouri is up there as well. Anthony Robertson is up there as well. But for me, Kerkez is one of the best left backs in England. I thought maybe Real Madrid might have edged it for his signing, but it looks like it could be Liverpool who are approaching him to make that move after the season ends with Bournemouth. That's 3 signings they could possibly have under their belt before the transfer window even opens. FSG, you know, the sporting director, Edwards, at Liverpool, they are moving serious. They clearly see that Premier League as ammunition and fuel and fire in their belly to go and recruit actively. Because like I said, they're probably going to sell quite a few players. Darwin Núñez is on his way out. Luis Diaz is linked to a move to potentially Barcelona. So if they get at least 100 million between the two of them, that will pay for more than half of what they're paying for Florian Wirtz. And Frimpong at 40 million euros is a good price. And I think Milos Kerkez ain't even going to cost that much as well. He's probably going to cost around the same price. So Liverpool are recruiting actively. They're recruiting heavily. And I hate to say it, but they're recruiting very, very well. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Do you want to see Florian Wirtz go to Liverpool? Liverpool fans, are you excited to have him in your team? Because that is a serious playmaker that Liverpool are getting their hands on. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here.